Yo, what's up guys, it's Shady here, and today we're here with our week 4 game for, no, our week 3 game for the APA LC Wi-Fi. This week we're going up against Coach Blinn and his Canberra Cradilys. He has a good amount of experience with Little Cup, but especially towards like leagues and stuff, a lot more than me, so definitely going into this match I knew we had our work cut out for us. So let's just hop into the matchups and all that. We're still back in the same team. I mean, I wouldn't mind making transactions at this point, like especially for hazard removal. But I mean, I don't really feel like going out of the way to make trades with any of the teams. And if I just see somebody drop some hazard removal that looks decent, maybe I'll go pick it up. But at the moment, nothing has really like been dropped or nothing, so it's just whatever. So yeah, let's just hop right into this. I am of course back in the same team: Drober, Larvesta, Elo and Rat, Mime Jr., Makuhita, Pidgey, Hippopotas, Shellos, Shelmet, and Pansage. Whereas he has the Pawniard, Cutify, Crabrawler, Rowlet, Sandygast, Slugma, the Duo, Tortuga, the Drowsy, and the Wimpod. Scared of Pawniard, period. I mean, Pawniard in general, just a really good mon. Slugma I thought might come as a Larvesta check. And Tortuga, either set up rocks or smash. I mean, just either set would be pretty bad versus my team. So, that's kind of why I expected Rowlet to come, Crabrawler and Cutify. Maybe do a duo as a Scarfed user. Didn't really expect Drowsy, Wimpod. Yeah, so. And then not really Crabrawler. I mean, Crabrawler would be interesting, but it doesn't really get any priority, which is why I think he'd bring it. So yeah, that's the team that we're bringing. Or that's what team. I mean, that's what I think of as team composition versus my team. The team we ended up bringing was a Life Orb, Rattata, with Crunch Return, Sucker Punch, Revenge. Obviously Crunch in return for RT Stabs, Sucker Punch for priority, and Revenge for that Pawniard. We have a Berry Juice Larvesta with Flare Blitz, U-Turn, Morning Sun, and Flame Charge. That could beat the... I mean, just overall, Flame Charge really put a dent into his team. And the only thing that'd be a problem against is Tortuga, which I wouldn't stay in on. And the... Oh, it was something. I want to say the Drowsy. I might be wrong about that though. I think it's just, it may have also been Sandygast. I think it was Sandygast. And so we could beat Sandygast 1v1 as long as it doesn't have a rock type move. Because we could Morning Sun, set up. Oh, Morning Sun. For some reason I thought Sunny Day. I'm stupid. Alright. We had Flare Blitz, U-Turn, Flame Charge, and Morning Sun. That makes a lot more sense. Morning Sun obviously to get back health, and in case he brought in Pawniard and it could bring us into Sucker Punch range, I just Morning Sun back up. Flame Charge obviously to get the +1 speed, because if we have his team weakened, Larvesta looks pretty nice. Flare Blitz just for our only attacking move, it's fine, we can Morning Sun up, and then U-Turn for just initiative in case we don't want to set up just yet. That looked pretty good against his team, minus the Tortuga. We need the Drowsy weakened. Slug might be a problem completely, so we'd have to get that out of the way. But otherwise, it looked really nice against his team if we got up a couple Mornings or Flame Charges. Next, we got the Shellos, which is called HP Fighting Ice Beam Recover, as a pretty physically defensive wall. I didn't know what to run on it as a 4th move. I mean, Scald obviously for stab, Ice Beam to hit the... what was it? The Rowlet, and then HP Fighting. I didn't have a 4th move I really wanted to run, so I just threw on HP Fighting for the Pawniard, since this was a switch anyway. It was AV Sticky Hold. So yeah, that's what we ran on Shellos. Next we have our Rocky MZ Drober with Earthquake, Rock Slide, Sub, Rapid Spin. I was hoping maybe we could set up a sub and get a pretty free Q on something. Or maybe Rowlet comes in and can pop off the Rocky MZ. Rapid Spin just because we needed some kind of hazard removal on this team, and I didn't like Pidgey in this matchup. He had things such as the Tortuga. I mean, really, just the Tortuga. I just don't like Pidgey. on this team. Just in general, Pidgey really isn't too good. I guess I could have brought it though. It didn't have a terrible matchup, but it also could have been better. So yeah, we had to bring Spin on this. Earthquake, Rock Slide, just only 2 attacking moves. That's all I really needed. And then Sub. Sub mainly also for the Pawniard. And then next we have a Fizz Def Hippopotas with the Earthquake, Slack Off, Stealth, Rocks, Roar. Just the same set. I mean, just a good set overall. And he didn't have any immunities except for the duo, so we were pretty fine there. And lastly, we got a Berry Juice Shelmet, pretty specially defensive with Bug Buzz, Giga Drain, Recover, and Spikes. So yeah, that's the team we're bringing against him. He decided to bring the Wimpod, the Cutie Fly, the Rowlet, the Duo, the Standing Gas, and the Drowsy. So no Pawniard off the back, that's pretty amazing. And no Slugma, so his switch into Larvesta is pretty limited. And no Tortuga, so that means we don't have to worry about a Smash Pass set, which could be very, very concerning for our team. So we're just gonna hop right into this. I decided to lead off with Shellos, I think, because I predicted the Sandy Gas lead in order to set up rocks. No, I lead Larvesta because I just see turn out on anything. As he decided to lead off with the Wimpod. According to my calc, Aquajet doing a decent amount. I didn't want to take that damage just early on, so I decided to go out into my Shellos, just hard into it. That's why I knew Shellos was in early against this thing. And he's just gonna set up spikes, so this is already pretty concerning. He is gonna reveal the Toxic here, as I believe I just fire off the Ice Beam. It may have also been the Scald. Yeah, I really didn't have too many great switching to the Swim Pod depending on his set. So I decided to stay in here. It's a little unfortunate, but I mean, we're gonna pretty much lose our Shellos here, or just because we don't really have a lot to do to this thing. I Ice Beam in case I can get a freeze. I don't get it. Oh, actually, I did get the freeze. I forgot this. Forgot to mention it. We did get the we did get the freeze. We actually had to replay this game. And so later on there will be some pretty weird turns. I'll try to speed up during them. But yeah. Here he's gonna go into his Q-Fly. As I said, to go into my Hippopotas as he sets up his webs. So he just hazard attacking the shit out of me. Which makes sense. Like I said, my hazard removal is pretty fucking terrible. So I'm just gonna stay in and fire off the rocks. I think I just set them up. Yeah. Maybe it forces him to defog off with like the Rowlet, and we can get all these hazards off the field. But chances are he'll just try to play with rocks up. Here I decided to go into my shells on this thing. Thought maybe this would be the thing to recover up on, as he actually goes for the Giga Drain here, which I didn't know this thing really got, or at least I didn't really think about it. So it does a lot of damage, and after Toxic, it's just gonna buffer me down a lot. So yeah. Here I decide to, I think I just sacked off my Shellos as he went into his thing here, his Drowsy. And I just clicked the Ice Beam in case he tried to go into Rowlet, and I'm not going to do any damage at all. I believe now I swap out just so I can use Shellos to sack later in the game. And I believe I just go into my Larvesta, right? Yeah, I go into my Larvesta, and I get caught in the spikes and webs as he just sets up the Wish. I think I just opt to U-turn out this next turn. No reason not to. And he's gonna swap out and go out into his Sandy S here and U-turn out. I really regret bringing Berry Juice. If I maybe brought like Z Flare Blitz, I mean, I think I just could have clicked it there and then hopefully claim the kill onto this thing, and then our life would be a lot easier because we did not have a lot to break this Sandy Gas. This was something I very much under prepped for. But here we can just go into a Alolan Rat and pretty much claim the kill. I mean, nothing switches into Alolan Rat pretty much in the LC format, so I'm just going to go for Crunchiers. He does decide to sack off the Wimpod. So good play. So that's what's going to happen here. And I believe he just goes out into his, his Cutie Fly, which outspeeds me because of the webs. And I don't really have a good switch into this. Here in the game, I sacked Shellos, but we completely forgot about that. So you'll see it kind of ends up like fucking us over. And like it takes us a little bit to decide like how we're gonna do about it. We end up wasting a lot of turns and stuff over it. So yeah, he's gonna get the Moonblast off here, and I shouldn't have taken that damage yet. It makes it complicated when recreating. So I think what I'm gonna do pretty much is kind of just speed this part up, and I'm kind of gonna explain what happened here. I just set up my rocks because I roared him out into Drowsy. No, I roared him out as he swapped into Drowsy, and I roared him out into Cutify, so I set up my rocks just to kind of copy that. As he gets his berry juice, I'm gonna set up my rocks again. Here you have to swap out again, and I go into no, he toxics here as I click roar. No, I think I clicked the slack off. No, EQ, I guess. Like I said, these, especially these turns, just because we had to like recreate specific things and all that, it was pretty difficult to try to remember them all. Just because it was just kind of, we messed up a lot. Here, just decide to click recover, I think, or I guess slack off as he goes into Drowsy. I think. Nope, I clicked the roar again. This is where we realized we messed up, kinda. Because I shouldn't have been this week already. Otherwise, I would have clicked the recover in game. So it doesn't make sense that I didn't click the recover now. I keep saying recover, I mean slack off. So it is getting kind of confusing for us. Here though, he's just gonna get sent out to Cutify, and I think I just slack off as he goes in a Rowlet because we decide I didn't die yet. It should have been a double down between Cutify and the Hippopotas, and obviously that's not how it was shaping out to be. So he can go out into his Rowlet because we knew that, I mean, I couldn't EQ it, and so it'd be fine. But we realized that he took more rocks than he should have, so that was pretty unnecessary. And so now he's gonna swap out into Little Buzzer here because we realize this will be the double down on that of poison, and he'll die to rocks, which is what which happened in game, so that's fine. Here I'm gonna go out into. He's gonna go out into his Rowlet on my Shellos because we realized that Shellos should have been sacked instead of me switching hard into Hippopotas on the Moonblast. And so here we're gonna spend a lot of time just stalling over and over, and we're eventually gonna realize that what we can do is I'll just since it was a double down, what we could have done was just go out into our two Mons right there, and then I just never sent in Shellos. He didn't have any moves like Circle Throw, Roar, none of that. To where there's a chance where Shellos might get sent in. So I'll just keep playing as if I don't have Shellos, and at the very end, if he wins, then I'll just forfeit. If he can't kill the Shellos looks like he'll just go down, then I'll just give him Shellos. Even though it goes to the Cutify, that kill still goes to Cutify no matter what, just because that's what happened. And so here I'm trying to HP fighting. But eventually in the end he's gonna have to take a little bit of damage, but it just whatever. Like, so his Rowlet's gonna take a little bit more damage than it should have, but and I thought it may end up mattering. We'll see, it doesn't really. So yeah, he's just gonna keep bruising and recovering. I'm just gonna speed up through this, and eventually we're just like, fuck it, we're gonna go into our 2 Mon that we would have went on that double down. He ended up going into the Doduo. I ended up going into my Shelmet. I decided that Shelmet was not useful at all on this matchup. Drowsy was already very weakened. It was like at 35%. So I decided to stack my Shelmet here and let him take some Brave Bird recoil here because I knew he'd go into a Doduo. Doduo was looking like the Scarper, and I mean, I just thought it'd be a nice stack. We could get the recoil damage off on it, and now we can go out into our Drover here, which probably caught him off guard. I mean, honestly, I don't know I did that either, but it's whatever. He's gonna swap out here into his Sandygast as I go for the Rapid Spin. That's why I did it. I wanted to get the spin off, but he has the Ghost type and the Sandygast. That's something I didn't think about. So, or I did think about at that moment, but like early in the game, I was just kind of like, oh, maybe we can get it off. It'll be fine. Here I thought he set up rocks, and that's exactly what he does. So here I decide just go for the flame charge. If he did not have the rock type move, if we set up 4 flame charges, we outspeed his Scarfto duo, and we can just probably win the game. Against the Sandygast, we need like maybe a couple high rolls, but we should be fine. He ends up carrying the ancient power though, so good bring on him. I mean, if had he not brought it, we may have won the game. I thought he might have brought one of his stabs, rocks, shore up, and then well, the last move, Giga Drain, but you know he doesn't obviously. Here we can just go into our rat and just click the crunch, and that's exactly what he's gonna sack off a Drowsy here, and we're gonna end up picking up the KO. And now he's gonna go out into his Rowlet here, and I decided to click. I decided to let this go down. This was actually another 50. This was a 50-50 that decided the game pretty much, because I outspread that Sandygast even after webs with my rat. So if I had Sucker Punch, I ended up killing this thing. And then the duo Scarf, I killed that with the Sucker Punch, and then Sandygast just did the crunch. So it was basically 3 50-50s because, or 2 50-50s all in one, because I just decided, because of the way that hustle works, it essentially would have came down to me landing 3 hits, which ended up being like a 51% chance of that happening. And we've missed moves with the rat so far, so it wouldn't have been like surprising had it happened. And so yeah, and then if we had, I thought it was just a 50-50 between him crunching or sucker punching. I should have known that he was sacked. I mean, that just kind of makes sense looking back on it, because then well, no, because we already know that he had a roost, and so had he roosted up, he would have been out of sucker punch range, and then he could have killed me. So once again, it just came to a 50-50 whether he would roost or just attack me. I thought that he would predict the sucker punch, and so I'd just recover, or I could just return there, which picked up the KO, because as we ended up finding out later in the game, he wasn't defensive, so it was fine. But and we just O-code. We found out his set, and so the HP fighting didn't end up mattering. If he was just a slightly bulky one, he would have been able to pick up the KO, but or he would have been able to live the sucker punch normally, but not after the HP fighting damage that he shouldn't have even took in the first place. In which case I would have just forfeited him right there. I mean, he shouldn't have lost the game, but it's whatever. And then he ended up going Jober. Jober was the last mon, saying he speed at 1v1, and that ended up being the game. And then we ended up having stack Shedlows, but like I said, that kill got the QD5, so that's what killed it in the game. So anyways, GG to win. I mean, there really wasn't any hacks. I mean, I got pretty lucky with how the roar turns played out. It didn't look like a roar to y'all, but I roared out the QD5 like back to back like 3 separate times, so it really just got messed up. So that was really unfortunate for him. But I mean, he still ended up coming out with a 3-0 dub, I think. No, it was a 1-0. No? 3-0. Yeah, 3-0. So, that's the game. Next week we go up against Oval and the Golden State War Turtles. I'm not sure how many more APA games I can deal with. I mean, I was planning on taking a break from mods anyways. And honestly, I mean, I already know that I'm not too good at LC leagues and tournaments and all that. In the ladder, I mean, it's a completely different game. I am really good in the ladder, but just overall in leagues and tournaments when it comes to LC, I just play like complete garbage, or I'll get garbage log or something like that. And I mean, this has just not been too good for me. Don't get me wrong, this game was pretty fun, even like through the recreation. I was in call with Blinn, so it was pretty alright. But I mean, I just don't know how much more I can take with it. I'm gonna try my best to stick through this league, but I don't think it's gonna be a playoff league, so it's pretty unfortunate. I mean, if we can make some transactions, I'll probably look into it just to get some better ads for removal. Then maybe we can salvage this season. We're currently only what 1 and 2. I mean, I know the results from next week, so we aren't like in the worst spot. I mean, there is 12 weeks, but we'll see what happens. But enough rambling. Make sure to check out Blinn and all the other APA coaches. Their links will be in the description, just as always. Anyways, I would thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button. But anyways, this has been Shady. I'm out.